Hello yet again. Where are we at now? We are on video 4 of my UAsk IAnswer series. This week's question was sent in by, Ozair Shaiq, who is a change management consultant for Manulife in Canada. Ozair asked, how do people who have had no formal training start a career in change management? Another good question, aren't they all? Why? Because I actually get numerous messages from people asking me exactly the same or similar. For example, I had a recent conversation with an Esmira Samadova, who works for, who's a senior project coordination specialist and works for PASHA Insurance in Azerbijan. And she specifically asked me that same question. That's kind of what I like about what I do. From Canada to Azerbaijan, we live in a connected world, don't we? Okay, the usual context. The people that contact me asking for my advice fall into two main categories. The first category is someone who has just happened into change management. And the second category is someone who wants to get into change management. Having said that, everybody's circumstances are slightly different. So what I kind of tend to do is I say, okay, I understand, but I need to know a little bit more. How about a Zoom or Skype session to discuss things in a little bit more detail and to get an understanding of your situation? Which they normally say, yeah, okay. These sessions can last anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour. Obviously, it depends on the depth of questions they ask and what they want to know and so forth. So, having established their circumstances via the Zoom and Skype session, what I then do is I put together a personalised reply based on that session and send them my advice. Normally they come back and say, thank you very much, that's great. There's a lot in it, but there's a lot to take into account, to be honest. So, back to the answer. To answer Ozair's question and Esmira's question, I will go through the kind of advice that I normally give people via that email or during a Skype Zoom session. I'm going to split this actually into 3 sections. The first section will be reading and research. The second section will be personal development, and the third section will be active involvement. First up, reading and research. My first suggestion is that you should read up on the subject, of which there are many sources. There are many books out there on change management on the market. And what I'm going to do is just go through a few. I'm not going to recommend them, I'm going to suggest them. And some of them are old and some of them are newer. So first up, Leading Change by the well-known and famous John Cotter. Change Management, The People Side of Change by Jeff Hyatt and Tim Creasy of ProSci. The Theory and Practice of Change Management by John Haynes. Making Sense of Change Management by Esther Cameron. Managing Organizational Change, A Multiple Perspectives of Approach, Ian Palmer. Conversations of Change by Dr. Jen Fram. Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson. And finally, The Dance of Change by Peter Senge. This was actually probably one of the first books on change that I ever read. And up until I moved over here to Thailand, I had it in my book cupboard, and I used to refer to it quite regularly. But obviously, don't let me influence you. Make your own choice. Go onto Google, put the search string in popular change management books, and it'll come up with a long list that's available. So choose for yourself, basically. The other source, and this is a bit of a personal plug, are some of the articles I've written on LinkedIn. There are quite a few, I think there's about 30 odd. Just remember that these are my own view, my own perspectives of change, and I do make a few points on occasions to that effect. So you need to remember that when you read them. The ones I would suggest is 70% of change initiatives fail, really, which is my take on that much used failure statistic, people trying to sell their services on the back of it. Change management and organisational development. What's the difference? Is there an alignment between the two? I also put forward a case to maybe the two disciplines coming together at some stage in the future. Change management and the brain. What does change, what happens to the brain when people are faced with change? As an example, the flight or fight syndrome. Future change management. Where is change management going in the future? What will there be? Agile, lean, etc. Again, I found a few resources on that, so it'd be an interesting read. Agile OCM, I mentioned that a minute ago. Is that a game changer or just another methodology? My view is that is that change managers have always needed to be agile due to the nature of their work. So it's about being nimble, responsive and swift. And if you're a change manager and you're not those three things, then I reckon you don't really want to be a change manager, because you have to think on your feet. Change management, better late than never. That's just my take on the fact that we as change managers are normally brought into change management scenarios at a late stage, and we're forever chasing our tail and firefighting, and then at the end of the day we kind of get the blame for not sorting things out. One of those things, you have to have broad shoulders. The evergreen, project management versus change management. What's the difference? Is there a mindset difference? Change management is all about adoption. Project management is all about installation. Can one person do the two roles? I wrote that in 2014, but it's still being debated now. Change management, do you need to be certified? Again, an oft-debated subject. Does a certificate, I put my teeth back in, does a certificate make you a better change manager? I haven't got a certificate, and I don't think it's a problem. All you have to do is go to my profile, click on activity and then articles, and it'll come up with my list of articles for you to read. As I said, they are my view, so you need to bear that in mind when you read them. Next up, take a look at the two professional bodies there are out there that represent the global change management community. There is the Change Management Institute in Australia, and there is the Association of Change Management Professionals in the USA. Go to their website, take a browse through, have a look at the key information. What example is what certificate, having talked about certification, what certification and accreditation they provide, what's their body of knowledge look like, what's their standard for change management look like. You may just find something interesting on there, but it's a well worth exercise. And, sorry, I've got to have another quick plug, and there'll be a couple more later on that as well, by the way. There will soon be a new kid on the block called the Institute of Change and Transformation Professionals Asia. Basically, that's being pulled together by myself and some very dedicated country representatives to provide a body for change management and transformation professionals in Asia, because of the very different way change is practiced over here in relation to culture. But I talked about that in my last video, if you remember. Okay, so watch this space. Also, take a look at the offerings from the main independent training bodies such as APMG and APMG and ProSci. See if there's anything that they offer that piques your interest. There is a significant cost involved with these, as a matter of interest. I thought I needed to say that. Okay, under the next heading, personal development. So we've talked about reading and research. Let's talk about personal development now. If you have none or limited knowledge of change and don't want to pay the kind of fees that those previous bodies charge for their training, going straight into ProSci or APMG may just be a bit like diving in off the deep end. So you may want to consider getting some kind of initial introduction to change. Time for another plug, as I said before, well, 3 plugs actually. Plug 1. I deliver a 2-day online Fundamentals of Change Management workshop, which may be of interest. Let me know if you are. If you're not, no worries. I have an amount of change IP, which is available via a website called flevy.com in the form of PowerPoint slides, which all relate to an extent the way I practice change. Take a look. All the documents you will find under the Highway of Change author. Again, it's up to you if you want to buy any or not. Yeah. Finally, training is all well and good, but it's a bit of a one-hit activity, really. So you may want to consider seeking out a coach or mentor. There are many good coaches and mentors out there on change management. And hey, guess what? I also do coaching and mentoring. I have a program called Coaching and Mentoring for Change Management, or CM for CM, which is now actually part of my training program. So you may want to take a look. Again, if you're interested, let me know. If you're not interested, no problem. So I think that was my 3 plugs, wasn't it? So yeah, I promise, no more plugs now. Okay, enough. Okay, next up is active involvement, or AI. Artificial intelligence, no, active involvement. If you're not already, you may want to consider joining some of the change-related LinkedIn groups, of which there are over 50. Some active, some not so active. I recommend this because it would be good for you to start contributing to some of the discussions that go in there, that go on in there. If there are discussions that you'll have an interest in, because what it will do is will get you into the change mindset, if you like. The following are the most popular ones. Change consulting, digital transformation, change management, strategy, innovation, AI, data and IoT. That's a bit of a mouthful. Yes, that's a single group, but it has 113,000 members. Then there's the group I would definitely recommend is organisational change practitioners, who are very active. They have nearly 75,000 members. And finally, the Business Process Improvement and Change Management Group, nearly 63,000 members. Apart from these, there is one that is not so popular. It's called the Change Management Academy, in brackets, Novice Change Management Education, which only has 165 members, but is specifically for, as it says, Novice Change Management Education. All right, last but definitely not least, if you're employed by a company and they have change capability and have a number of change projects, programs going on, why not offer your services to them in some kind of capacity as an analyst or in communication or whatever? Because that is actually getting involved in change at the coalface. And there is nothing better than learning by actually doing. Okay, done again. I hope that's kind of given you wannabe change managers some practical advice, but give me a buzz if you want more practical advice. If you want a Zoom or Skype session, it's entirely up to you. Okay, done again. My next question is already in the can. When I say it's in the can, it's been sent in already, and I have another one after that as well. But please send more, because, as I said before, I need to keep a pipeline. And don't forget, Highway of Change YouTube channel, please subscribe, because all of this stuff is on there. Thank you very much.